Welcome to the world beyond imagination. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And enjoy the journey. He saved the Star Child. Now her mother's galactic army is here. The alarms were the first thing to die, their frantic screams swallowed by a deeper, more profound silence. It was the silence of the void made solid, of space itself holding its breath. Leo clung to the pilot's chair, his knuckles white, as outside the viewport of his battered scavenger ship. The wanderlust, the stars did not just vanish, they were erased, replaced by the impossible, seamless obsidian hull of a vessel so large it dwarfed mountains. It was a wall against creation itself, and it was parked right in front of him. This was it, he thought, the grand finale of a nobody, caught in the wrong place at the absolute worst time, all because of the weight currently asleep in his arms. She was warm against his chest, a small bundle wrapped in a patched-up thermal blanket. Only the very top of her head visible, a shock of soft, fiery orange hair, and the delicate points of two tiny fox-like ears. She had been like that for days now, ever since he'd found her, a silent, scared little thing hiding in the wreckage of a splendor he could not even describe. A ship that looked less like a machine and more like a frozen tear of light. She hadn't cried, she hadn't spoken. She had just looked at him with eyes the color of molten amber, deep and ancient and terrified. And he, fool that he was, had reached out. He had saved a Star Child. And now her mother's galactic army was here. A light, cool and blue-white, filled the cockpit. It came from behind him, from the interior airlock he had never managed to fix properly. He did not need to turn around to know she was there. The air grew heavier. Charged with a scent like ozone and cold jasmine, he could feel a presence, vast and focused, pressing against the back of his neck, with a slow exhale. A prayer to any god that might be listening to a scrap rat like him. Leo turned. She stood in the doorway of his grimy ship, and the very reality of her made his mind ache. She was tall, her form clad in armor that seemed spun from liquid moonlight, intricate and graceful, yet radiating an absolute, unbreakable strength. Her hair was a cascade of living flame, the same vibrant orange as the child's, flowing over her shoulder and down her back, and from the crown of her head rose two elegant, pointed ears, furred in that same impossible color. Her skin was the pale gray blue of a twilight sky, and her eyes, those same amber pools as the child's, were fixed on him. They held no mercy, only a calm, terrifying assessment, like a star considering a speck of dust. The infant in his arms stirred, then woke. She peeked out from the blanket, her little ears twitching, and saw the woman. A soft, trilling sound escaped her, a sound Leo had never heard before. It was pure, unmistakable joy. The mother's gaze broke from Leo and fell upon the child, and for a fraction of a second, the terrifying mask softened into something indescribable. A love so vast it hurt to witness. Then her eyes snapped back to Leo, harder than before, as if angered by her own moment of weakness. You. Her voice was not loud, but it vibrated in Leo's bones, a low, resonant frequency that spoke of cosmic winds and the birth of solar systems. You took the light of Xylos. Leo's throat was desert dry. He forced the words out. I found her. She was alone. She was scared. You interfered, the mother stated, taking a single step forward. Her armor did not clink, it whispered, a sound of shifting constellations. You touched what is not yours. The penalty is unmaking. This was the moment. Leo expected to die. He held the child a little tighter, a futile, instinctive gesture. But then the little one, his Star Child, did something remarkable. She squirmed in his grasp, reaching one small hand out, not towards the majestic being before her, but towards Leo's face. Her tiny fingers patted his stubbled cheek, a gesture of pure, simple comfort. The mother froze, her sentence left hanging in the charged air. She was hurt, Leo continued, his voice finding a strange strength from that tiny touch. The place where her ship fell, the atmosphere was acid and radiation. Your technology was broken. My ship was the only shelter. I am a scavenger. I have little. But I gave her warmth and water, and the only nutrition paste I had that my body could maybe share. He looked down at the child, who was now babbling softly at him. I called her Ember because of her hair, because she was a little light in all this dark. He dared to look back at the mother. Her expression was unreadable, a statue of celestial judgment. You named her, she said, and it was not a question. It was an accusation of a different, deeper crime. I had to call her something, Leo whispered. A series of holographic displays, unseen before, flickered to life in the air around the mother, streams of intricate data in a language of light. Her eyes, never leaving Leo, scanned them. Your vessel's logs confirm a trajectory from the Gamma Serpentis fringe. The atmospheric poison is on your hull. Your life support readings show a 90% reduction in your own nutrient reserves for the past 3 cycles. Her head tilted, just slightly. The movement, animal and alien. You depleted yourself. You risked your fragile existence. Why, human? Why would a creature of scarcity do this? Leo's answer was there, in his arms, in the way the child Ember now clung to his shirt, completely unafraid of the Galactic Empress in the room. Because she was alone, he said, the simplicity of it feeling like his only truth. And in the deep dark, being alone is the worst thing there is. The mother's stern facade did not crack, but the relentless pressure in the room shifted. It did not lessen, it changed direction. She glided forward, not with threat, but with a purpose so deliberate, it was more frightening than anger. She stood before him, so close he could see the impossible fractal patterns in her amber eyes. Slowly she raised a hand, her fingers slender and graceful, tipped with nails like polished sapphire. She did not reach for Leo. Instead, she reached for the child. Leo's arms tensed, a primal urge to hold on. But he did not resist. He allowed her to touch with a reverence that seemed to humble even her. The mother placed her fingertips against Ember's small cheek. The child immediately nuzzled into the touch, trilling happily, "She is whole," the mother murmured, more to herself than to Leo. Not just alive, but unafraid, unharmed in spirit. This is statistically impossible. Her eyes lifted again, locking with Leo's. "What is your designation?" "Leo, just Leo." "Just Leo," she repeated, and for the first time, her voice lost its edge of galactic command. It held only quiet, awe-filled confusion. "You possess no shields that could withstand our simplest scanner. You have no weapons that could scratch my armor's weakest point. Your biology is fragile. Your lifespan a blink. Yet, you stood between a child of the void and the abyss, with nothing but your own body and your will." She withdrew her hand, straightening to her full imposing height. The holographic displays around her shimmered and changed, showing not data, but images. 1,000 different views from 1,000 different ships, all pointing at the wanderlust. It was surrounded, not just by the colossal mothership, but by a symphony of other vessels, cruisers sleek as daggers, destroyers bristling with silent power, a galactic armada of unimaginable strength, all waiting on a single word from her. "They await my command," she said, her gaze drifting to the armada displayed in the holograms, then back to Leo and the child in his arms. "They expect annihilation for the crime of touching royalty. It is the law, it is logical, it is what has always been." A long, heavy silence filled the cockpit, broken only by Ember's contented breathing. Leo could see the conflict in her, a war between the cold logic of empires and the warm, illogical truth in front of her. Finally, she spoke, and her words were not a verdict, but a question. A offer that shook the foundations of Leo's world. "You Saved the heart of my house, just Leo. You gave everything you had, which was almost nothing, and asked for nothing in return. This is a language my people have forgotten. A strength we do not possess. She took a step back and then, to Leo's utter disbelief, she gave a slow, graceful nod, a gesture of respect. The Armada is not here for vengeance, it is here for her. And now, it sees what I see, a new kind of strength, a different kind of shield. She extended her hand once more, not to take the child, but palm open, towards Leo. The offer is this: come, stand with your charge. Her keeper, walk with us, show my court, show my warriors. This strange and powerful truth you carry, that in all the vast cold galaxy, the most powerful force is not the ability to destroy, but the choice to protect. Leo stood there, a human in a dusty hoodie, holding a star child, being offered the stars themselves by a queen. He looked at Ember, at her trusting eyes, then at the mother's waiting hand. And he understood. This was not an end. It was a beginning more terrifying and wonderful than he had ever dreamed. He took a breath and nodded, because in the deep dark, being alone is the worst thing there is, and now neither of them would ever be alone again.